All right, let's dig into this quote here because a lot going on. He is, yes,
quickly
referring
before
to...
we get into the specifics
Yeah,
of this. Kershaw has turned into a quote machine. And I'm not sure this is something I expected, but his DGAF level, his lack of craps given is so high right now. He like has baseball tenure where someone will be like, what do you think about this? He's like, I don't care. He's like, I wake up and for 4 days, I hang out with my kids and I do my workouts. And on the 5th day, I'm Clayton Kershaw. And I don't even know what team Paul Goldschmidt's on right now. I don't watch baseball. Jacob Misiorowski, never heard of her. I just throw a ball.
Right, which is great because I think that conveys a couple different things. One, which is what you're getting at, and honestly, a sentiment that I think we have learned over the years talking to players is that they are pretty focused on what they're doing. And that's okay. I know we all like to think that the players who are in Major League Baseball know what's going on in Major League Baseball. That's really not always the case, and that's totally understandable. But let's get back to Kershaw specifically, because again, there's part of this quote that you read that almost, if you read it too quickly and don't really think about it, you're like, what does he think? He's thinking like, oh, I don't care about this rookie. What has he ever proven? But then to finish it with this wonderful, moment of self-deprecation where he's like, yeah, he throws hard like everybody else except for me because I'm old and broken and left-handed and throw 90 miles an hour on my best day. So just a wonderful combination of things in this quote here. But that was beforehand. And, we've already had, this is only Misiorowski's, I think, 5th Major League start. We've already had some of these marquee matchups. We saw him against Skeens, but, him versus Skeens, fighting fire with fire. This is a very, very different kind of matchup and a truly wonderful contrast. And after giving up a leadoff home run to Shohei Ohtani, who has not been playing very well recently, but, it's always a matter of time, only a matter of time before Shohei, puts a charge into one. Miz went to work and he was just mowing him down.
So Kershaw's slowest fastball last night, his slowest four-seamer was 88. Misiorowski's fastest four-seamer was 101.6.
What was Misiorowski's slowest pitch on the entire night? Because his slider is 97. I mean, 80. Okay, his slowest pitch of the night was 86.1, which was a curveball. So he's got this slider that is somehow registering as a slider on StatCast that is averaging 94.6. His changeup is averaging 92.2, which is way harder than Kershaw's fastball. And the heater last night averaging 99.7.
Every single fastball, slider, and changeup that Misiorowski threw last night was faster than every single fastball that Clayton Kershaw threw last night.
Every single pitch I think Kershaw has thrown the whole season. I'm not even sure that he's crested 91, maybe more than once or twice. So yeah, that's what we're talking about. These are two extremes. But hey, Kershaw hung in there. It's not like he was.
There are multiple ways.
He goes 6 again. Yeah.
There are multiple ways to strike out a cat. Or to sit down a cat, maybe not strike him out, because Kershaw goes 6 strong, unbelievable line. 6 strong, 6 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 1 walk, 3 Ks. Misiorowski, slightly different approach to pitching last night. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, it was earned, 1 walk, and 12 Ks.
12 strikeouts is a lot of strikeouts, especially when you're facing the Dodgers. Although, we're going to focus on the Dodgers and the fact that they're losing a bunch of games, and it's hard to get super excited about them right now when there's not a whole lot going super well for them. But before we talk about the Dodgers slide of this little losing streak, let's keep the focus on the Miz here, because this has so quickly become, again, it's not that he wasn't a top pitching prospect, but he had never quite crossed in. And maybe it's just because he's on the Brewers. Maybe it's because he's had some fluctuations with control where he's, is he going to be a reliever? Never quite got into the very top of the prospect list. And because he kind of came out of nowhere, a junior college guy, it just didn't quite get to the level. This is one of the fastest rises to everyone being like, hey, you know Misiorowski's pitching today, right? Like, you better be tuning in. I can remember for a pitcher, but also, yeah, like, watch him. It's not that complicated. This is some of the best stuff we've ever seen, and it is an incredible, 100th percentile outcome. Not, again, we have no idea what his career is going to be, but this is the kind of example of a pitcher and an athlete that scouts see at a very early age. And I got to shout out the GOAT of draft coverage, Jim Callis, one of my favorite humans and a true mentor in this space for me. Of course, I'm in full draft mode. Got my top 50 coming out this week. I remember Jim had Misiorowski on the top draft prospect list in high school before he was even going to a junior college. He had barely pitched in 2020. It was 2020, so it was a weird year for sure. But he and his obviously he's got good sources and good scouts. They were like, this kid, if it comes together, has all the ingredients to have special stuff. And it took a while, but my God, I mean, this is a level of stuff that you just are not seeing from really anybody else right now.
I have described Kyle Hendricks, the experience of watching longtime Cub and current Angel Kyle Hendricks navigate a lineup, as a fancy evening at home with a glass of wine. I feel like I'm wearing a suit. It feels, high class to watch Kyle Hendricks. I would describe Misiorowski as shotgunning a Four Loko in the forest, right? Where it's like, I'm out. It is full gas. There are no secrets here, right? He is here to blow your doors off. And that is exactly what he did last night. And Kershaw, after saying, I don't know him, had this to say. This is via Jack Harris of the LA Times, friend of the show. Quote, I know him now. Huh. Super impressive. That was unbelievable. I don't know how you hit that, honestly. That's just really tough.
Yeah, and that's certainly what it looked like. I think the one other thing I would say about Misiorowski before we flip it to the Dodgers is, like, you mentioned that experience of watching him and just this full go, full throttle, this just kind of riveting viewing experience. I mentioned recently when we were talking about Tarek Skubal about how much Tarek Skubal seems to be enjoying being the best pitcher in the world, and how his energy on the mound, and honestly just kind of like the way he moves about now, coming from fairly humble beginnings, where it's not like he was ever expected to be this. He's having a good time, but Tarek Skubal also has this kind of like macho energy that he has taken over. Misiorowski is having the time of his life because he's just like, can't believe that he has maybe the best stuff in the world. And it's just like this happy-go-lucky skinny kid from Missouri who is averaging 100 miles an hour for 6 innings. Like, it is this, he's just like, how am I living in this body? Like, he's laughing. It's just very endearing. And the little interviews that I've seen with him too, like, he really does come across as a kid.
Oh my God.
And he's just having a great time. And he's just so unassuming. He's still, he's very tall, but he's still extremely skinny and lanky. And he's just got this kind of goofy smile, and he's just going up there hucking it. And it's really something to watch.
He's a thunderstorm of aw shucks. There was a tweet I saw the other day from an account called @LiveLaughLucas, who is a Brewers fan in Wisconsin, who ran into Misiorowski. I think this is at Target, and it is a picture of these two together at Target, and you can't really tell which one's a big leaguer. Misiorowski is the most teenager working a summer job at Target energy of any person who throws baseballs 100 miles an hour that I've ever seen. It is amazing and endearing, and it's the first baseball player who's dominant where I feel old. Like he is a different generation. Like, he is significantly younger than me. He looks like if you put us next to each other, you're like, that guy's older than that guy. And I think that's really the first time that I have felt that. Yeah. It is just it's an incredible visual. Yeah, and he just turned 23 in April, so he's one of the youngest pitchers. It's not like he's a teenager, but he still just has that youthful energy, and that's really something. And I will say that, like, we're going to talk about the futures game later.
his Futures game appearance, if you were paying attention, and unfortunately the Futures game kind of just gets buried because it happens when the regular season's still going on, and we can talk about that another time, but his appearance in the Futures game was this for 1 inning. And everyone was kind of looking around like, is that going to be a major league starter? Like it was so explosive. And when you see it in the one stint, you're like, well, this probably won't hold up. He wasn't throwing a lot of strikes at that point, but now he's putting it all together. And yeah, he's got some bouts of wildness, but when your stuff's this good, you are going to be just fine.